Hello, this is the javaPRO-CRC Ultra 8-pound capacity coffee roaster. That's 8 pounds of pre-roast weight of coffee beans. This is a roaster that operates on conventional 115 volt AC, 60 hertz. I want to start by just showing the roaster as it would be completely put together. You'll see that the door latch mechanism to keep it closed is on top. Basically, to open it, you would just pull that back like that and open the door. You'll see that inside is the 8-pound capacity all stainless steel perforated coffee roaster drum and its support mechanisms right there. That's where the thermometer goes inside the drum. The thermometer comes out like that. It's a long thermometer. It measures the bean mass temperature. Conventional analog readout dial that you can move around, and it goes up to quite high, so you can tell the bean mass temperature just by looking at that. The PID version of this roaster has an electronic thermocouple that slips right in. It looks the same as this one, the PID version, except that it of course has a PID, which we have on this side of the roaster, and to make easy access for the thermocouple probe to go inside the roaster, and also it's electronically temperature controlled, of course, being PID. This one is not electronically temperature controlled. This is manual temperature controlled. Now we'll go over here and show you the exhaust port. This is the exhaust port. It's a 4-inch diameter outside diameter port. Now here's a hose clamp for it. We also include with this a temporary exhaust pipe. It's this expandable aluminum 4-inch inside diameter, expands out to about 4 feet. You can put that on it. You stick it out a window if you want, or you can make a more permanent, which we suggest a more permanent attachment to the outdoors. The fan system is cooled specially so that when the exhaust comes out, it doesn't burn out the fan. That's why you see little holes around here. The holes actually suck in air from the outside, mix it with the smoke coming in from the roaster, cools down the smoke before it hits the fan, and goes out nicely. Periodically you'll want to go inside and kind of give it a little bit of a vacuum, brush out any kind of residue you see around the fan blades, just to keep it running smoothly. But that's all the maintenance it really needs. Okay, coming over on this side, you'll see these little red things. Those are just bumpers for the door. A little bit of a magnetic, helpful things. They don't do too much, except keep the door closed a little bit. This is the thing you want to make sure is locked up there and properly set before you start your roast. But I'm going to keep it open right now because we're going to be taking that drum out and showing you how to fill it and how to insert it and how to get the thing running. So we'll come over here now, explain a little bit more what you're seeing. This adjustment inside is a heavy-duty 60 RPM electric motor, which spins that drum at 60 RPM. The motor system is cooled with a little fan here, blows air at the fan, make sure it keeps it nice and cool. The PID version of this will also have a solid state relay inside this mechanism just to keep the solid state relay cool, and it'll have other switches around. We're going to explain the switches now. I got to sit down for this point. Right down there, you'll see 2 switches here. One says bottom element and one says back element. That's because the roaster has 2 separate elements. They are both independent from one another when it comes to turning them on and turning them off. When you do your roasting, you want to make sure that both of them are on when you start. Some people will turn off the bottom element after they hear the first crack start, maybe be about in the center of between the center of first crack and second crack. They sometimes will turn off the bottom element just to extend out the roast a little bit. You can play around these switches whichever way you want. Sometimes people will preheat the roaster before they put the drum in. Sometimes they'll make a quicker roast, and these are all suggestions. You can fool around as much as you want. A suggestion regarding your first and second or third roasts, what you want to do even prior to those roasts is turn on the elements, turn on the exhaust manifold, and possibly have the roaster outside and let it get nice and hot. There's going to be some residual manufacturing oils and such that may burn off during this process. Also, you'll note that there's a perforated top on this, and underneath this perforated top there's ceramic insulation, and the ceramic insulation is stuck to the stainless steel interior with a high temperature sealant. And it's always good that you first do maybe a burn off outside, because that sealant may still be in a curing stage, and by doing a high temperature burn off outside, you probably see a little bit of smoke coming off it, and that's good to do it outside just to make sure that it fully cures and sets prior to doing any other roast. Remember, the interior is not going to get any kind of a smell inside, except for machine oils that may burn off. The exterior may get a little bit of that glue smell burning off, so that's something you just don't want to have smelling up the inside of your roasting area. So maybe you want to bring it outside and do a high temperature burn off like that. That would be my suggestion. Anyways, and back to these switches. Now you see two more switches in back, and you also see a cord, nice thick cord coming out. One of them is the motor switch that turns on the motor system.
It's too bright. Can't see.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you see it now?
Yeah. Okay, I guess.
Here, zoom into it a little. There. Now you can see the motor switch and the exhaust switch. The exhaust switch is something that you'll turn on only after you see smoke accumulating in the inside of the roaster. You really don't want to turn on the exhaust prior to that, because you'll just be sucking. What is that noise?
It's okay. I forgot to turn your coffee maker
Oh.
on.
The exhaust switch right there is something you want to turn on after you see smoke, because if you turn it on before that, you're just sucking heat out of the roaster that you don't want to do. Alright, that's how everything is basically looking. Now I'm going to ask my wife, Cara, to hold that for a second. What you want to do, okay, prior to removing the drum, is you want to take out the thermometer. That's very important, because you're not going to be able to take out the drum without taking it out. And if you try taking it out when it's sticking in there, you're going to ruin the thermometer. It's very easy to take out. Now, I don't have heat-proof gloves on right now, but make believe I do. Okay? You don't want to ever handle the drum in your bare hands. You don't want to ever handle the roaster. Even though it has insulation on it, it still gets hot. Especially the uninsulated parts, like the front will get very hot, and the underneath will get hot. And so, remember, heat-proof gloves, like UV gloves, are excellent. Now, looking at this side, you'll see that this rests right in there. You'll see this shaft collar. That shaft collar sets up against that. Now, in the back here, can you see that good?
Mm. Not really. It's the angles.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it right. I want to show you. There's a coupler right there. That coupler is what is sticking right into the back of the drum. Here you go. Now, to take the drum out, you just lift it up like that. Got it?
Okay.
Lift it up like that. And just pull it out. Go over here. Pull it out so that that's out now, and it slips right out. Just like that. Now I want to show you the inside of the roaster. There's the back heating element. There's a little light. It's functional. It's not really bright. This is a little bit of a heat riser, chaff holding tray. Chaff will drop onto this when it's roasting, and it's good to have that over the back, the bottom heating element. There's the bottom heating element. And then you see some holes right here that you don't want to have plugged. These holes right here allow the air to come into the roaster so that the air will get sucked out with smoke. Alright, to put this tray back in, you just put it in at an angle like that. Get it right in there. Get underneath that back heating element. Have it set down above it. There, you're all set. Here's the 8-pound drum. This drum holds 8 pounds pre-roast weight of coffee. It'll go up to about there, approximately, with 8 pounds. Have all that rest of the room for expansion. To to fill it up, what you want to do is there's 2 holes on the bottom here. These 2 holes right here are the holes that the
Shaft.
The shaft coupler goes in to make it turn. So when you fill this up, you want to put this on a tray, nice and flat like that. You want to pop this spring right here, lift open this cap, fill it up with 8 pounds of beans, up to 8 pounds. Doesn't have to be 8 pounds. You can roast anywhere from a ½ pound in here to 8 pounds. I suggest that you start with a little bit of beans and then work your way up. You want to get the experience of roasting with the roaster before you really fill it up to capacity. Then all you do is you hook it like that. That keeps the flap closed. To dump the beans after the roast, follow what I did in the beginning of taking the drum out. And all you got to do is just pop this like this, flip this open, dump the beans out. Boom. Prior to your next roast, you want to look inside this drum, and you want to make sure there's no beans caught anywhere. If there is beans caught anywhere, just poke them out with a screwdriver or whatever, a little pointy thing. Make sure there's no chaff hanging around inside. You want to look inside the roaster. You want to take this plate out. You want to lift it up, take it out. You want to sweep out any debris, any roasting debris that you see. Any roasting debris all over the top, because it's going to get chaff on it from the drum. You want to clean that out again with a vacuum cleaner real quick before you do your next roast. Yeah, you want to make sure you don't have any bean fires. You know, and when you do your roasting inside, you make sure you observe all safety precautions. You want to have a fire extinguisher next to you. You are roasting an organic material at high temperature, so there's always a potential of some kind of fire happening. So you want to make sure that you minimize any kind of thing like that. Happens with every roaster, not just this one. Okay, so make believe that we're now have this with 8 pounds of beans. You know, I got my heat-proof gloves on, even though the roaster might not even be hot yet. And this is probably one of the more difficult parts of using the roaster. And that is putting the drum in. What I suggest is that you go over here and you look at this. Can you see it good? You'll see that you can turn this with your hand. I've always found that if it's like this position where the protrusions are vertical instead of horizontal like that, the drum goes in easiest. So you want to look at the drum. There's the 2 holes right there that has to go in. If a couple beans come out, that's okay. You know, you can always just put those aside. It's not going to be a big deal. It could happen. You put the drum in like this first. A little bit of an angle on the left. You can see that. All right. You just go over here. Yeah, this side, over here. Got it? You want to make sure that those go in there okay. And then you come over here and just let it set down just like that. That's all it is. Very easy. It's going to maybe take a couple tries to get it just right. And when it's a little bit heavier, it is a little harder to put in. So keep that in mind. You don't want to rest. You don't want to rest your arms on this door. You don't want to push down too hard on this thing, on this right here. You want to use your shoulder muscles to put that in there correctly. Then once it's in, you can close the door. You can latch it. Get the thermometer. Very carefully put it in. Just like that. You want to get that little clip and you want to push it right over the top like that. That'll keep it in place. Now let's get over to hooking this up to show you what you're dealing with here. Now, this roaster has a 20 amp plug. That's what a 20 amp plug looks like. 20 amp 115 volt. It has a little horizontal protrusion on it.
That funny one there.
Terminal, I guess. Then it has a vertical terminal and it has the ground. I made a special adapter so that I can plug this right into a conventional outlet, only for testing purposes. And that's what I'm doing here. But you would need to have a 20 amp, 115 volt outlet that would match that plug for this to work. You need a 20 amps, dedicated 20 amp circuit. I'm just plugging it into this. Alright, just to show you how it works. Okay. What I'm going to do now is, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn on the motor. So I go over to the motor switch. Right here. This is a workshop, so you're going to hear a lot of noises of materials. I turn that on. When I turn that on, the motor will turn on, the backlight will turn on. There you go. It's going 60 RPM. I'm going to open this up just to show you. There it is. 60 RPM. At this point now, you want to go over here. There's the bottom element and the back element. You want to turn those both on. Just like that. And you just want to roast until you hear your cracks. You want to watch the temperature. The temperature will increase as the roast increases. You know, the bean mass temperature, and you can tell how that uses as an indicator of your roast progression. When you start seeing smoke inside, just hit the exhaust, and the exhaust will turn on. When you're done roasting, you know, turn off the switches, turn off the roast, exhaust, turn off the motor.
Turn off the heat.
Turn off the heat, yeah. Turn off the elements. And that's it. That's the basically the operation of the roaster, and it's going to take a little bit of experience for you to get the hang of it, like any other major piece of equipment. And again, follow all particular safety precautions and enjoy your roasting. Thank you.